The main event on this week's Monday Night Raw ended with Dean Ambrose and Shield brethren Seth Rollins becoming the new Raw Tag Team Champions. However, their harmony as tag team partners and stablemates ended shockingly, as Dean Ambrose nailed Seth Rollins with a Dirty Deeds finisher and launched a vicious beatdown on the Architect before leaving through the crowd, receiving a massive amount of boos for the attack. It's led to many raising the question, why now? What was the real reason for Dean Ambrose turning heel on Monday Night Raw? Number 1. The building to Dean Ambrose vs Seth Rollins at Wrestlemania 35. Just before Wrestlemania 34, WWE already had plans in mind to turn the Lunatic Fringe heel, leading to a feud with Seth Rollins and a match on the grandest stage of them all. During an interview with John Robinson, author of the book Creating the Mania, an inside look at how WrestleMania comes to life, he revealed two matches that were nixed due to injuries. According to him, both Seth Rollins vs Dean Ambrose and Kurt Angle vs Jason Jordan were planned, but these bouts were affected by Jordan and Ambrose's injury. He mentioned, "There were a lot of matches in play that could have completely changed the card, and then you hear about injuries affecting things like Seth Rollins vs Dean Ambrose. They were also trying to do Kurt Angle vs Jason Jordan, but then Jordan got injured. After Dean Ambrose needed time to heal his injury, the WWE instead put Rollins in a triple threat match against The Miz and Finn Balor, where he would come out victorious and win the Intercontinental Championship title." Fast forward to August 2018, where Dean Ambrose made his much anticipated return and WWE reunited the Shield, but over the last few weeks, he's teased dissension, even walking out on the group at one point. Well, it seems that after his heel turn was cemented on Raw, WWE are going down the same route they wanted for WrestleMania 34, just before Ambrose needed time off. Since Seth Rollins is one of the most over baby faces in the WWE right now, and Dean Ambrose could play one of the biggest heels on Raw, a match at WrestleMania 35 would be perfect. Number 2. Seth Rollins needed to take Roman Reigns' spot. This Monday's edition of Raw opened up with the shocking announcement that Roman Reigns was diagnosed with leukemia 11 years ago. Though the illness went into remission, he sadly revealed on Monday Night Raw that the cancer has come back. As a result, Reigns will need time off to battle off the illness and thus drop the Universal Championship, making it vacant for the crown jewel main event match between Braun Strowman and Brock Lesnar. Whether you love him or hate him, Roman Reigns is the biggest star on Raw, and without him, it has created a massive void on the show that will need to be filled. As we mentioned before, Seth Rollins is the most over superstar on the Red brand, and replacing Roman Reigns in the main event would be the WWE's best choice of action. And since they wanted to turn Dean Ambrose heel eventually anyway, it seemed like this was the best time to do it. And number 3, WWE needed to balance out the roster. Surprisingly, this edition of Raw had a number of turns. Not only did Dean Ambrose turn heel, but two WWE superstars would shockingly turn face. The first was Elias, as after he defeated Apollo Crews, he wanted to perform in front of the live crowd. However, he was rudely interrupted by Raw's acting general manager Constable Baron Corbin, who told him that there was no time for his performance and that he had to leave the stage immediately. Elias left, only to come back and whack Corbin right in the back with his guitar, cementing his babyface turn. Though it wasn't necessarily made on Raw, the monster among men Braun Strowman has also turned babyface again after wrestling Dolph Ziggler at a recent house show and feuding with Drew McIntyre. Dave Meltzer spoke on his turn during a recent edition of Wrestling Observer Live. Braun Strowman was a total babyface. He squashed Dolph Ziggler and did a run-in on Ziggler and McIntyre on another show, so I'm presuming that an angle is going to stick from last week and Strowman's back as a babyface. But who the hell knows, because again, that angle is kind of like, it's not part of a long-term plan. It seems to be formulated as it goes, but this week at least, it seems like Braun Strowman is a babyface. However, reportedly, Roman Reigns' announcement caused WWE to jump the gun on Dean Ambrose's heel turn. Dave Meltzer recently discussed on the Wrestling Observer Radio how both Elias and Dean Ambrose's turns were planned, but they weren't scheduled until way down the line. He mentioned, "They turned Elias, they turned Dean Ambrose. I don't know if either of them was scheduled originally. The Dean Ambrose one was going to go, but it wasn't going to be this week. You can debate the aspect of whether it's the right or wrong thing to do. From a business and emotional standpoint, this was the week to do it. The reason it was the week to do it from a business and emotional standpoint kinda makes you mad that they went that way and did it, but that's business. I don't know that Elias was going to turn this week, but they obviously needed some baby faces, you know. Last week they needed heels, this week they needed baby faces. Elias was going to turn at some point, so that was done this week. What did you guys think of Dean Ambrose's heel turn? Let us know in the comments down below, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.